So I fear you've had a very limited time with Hyrule Warriors. You haven't really been able to kind of absorb the game in its entirety yet, but just a little slice, little sample.
Yeah, I mean, haven't gotten to play much of that game yet, so I mean,
This doesn't happen often. You get the whole game. You just got that tricky Japanese.
Yeah, I had a reliable source here who told me there were only 15 missions, but then we were told there were 40 missions.
Never trust the comments.
I don't know.
That's what happens.
I think one of the commenters went by the name Kyle Bossman.
No, it wasn't me. I didn't tell you had 15. I was just reading the comments.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, we thought it was gonna be way longer than it was gonna be. So.
Damiani completed this game. We should just establish that he completed the entire game.
So yeah, we should make it clear that I don't really play Dynasty Warrior games at all. However, I do know that they generally are.
But when I do, I like them to be Zelda.
They take longer than 10 hours essentially.
Right.
Now, to be fair, we just played the story mode. There is a whole. So to break it up, it's Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda skin on it. Essentially, if you do not like Dynasty Warriors at all. This isn't a review, just a pretty obvious statement. You're probably not going to like this game, even if the reason some people might like this game who may not necessarily like Dynasty Warriors is if you're a giant Zelda fan and you like fan service. This game has a lot of fan service, and I feel that this is a shorter than usual Dynasty Warriors length for the story mode, from what I've heard. And they make missions just long enough so you don't hit that tedium that you usually get in Dynasty Warriors, where it's like, all right, how many more enemies do I have to fight? How many more waves do enemies have to fight through to get to this general and kill him? And then can I go over to this other base? They minimalize that a little bit to just enough. And there's enough Zelda stuff thrown in there that I feel it's an enjoyable experience. And enough that we were having fun, even though we didn't know what the hell was going on half the time.
But you could tell enough of what was going on to get through the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to XXX, YYY, giant glowing spot on the map saying an alert noise is going off. It's
Ganondorf shows up. You know what it is.
Yeah, when the enemies are and the levels are based off of famous areas from the Zelda games. We were in a Zoro's domain, and I was going up this part, wait, is this the part? And they're like, oh, this is the part where you jump off the waterfall for the first time, but it's frozen Zoro. I was like, and we're going to the water temple. I was like, you know these locations, so they're very familiar to you. So saying that again, if you're a Zelda fan, you're going to find a lot of familiar stuff here, a lot of fan service, and that part of it's enjoyable. Just comes down to whether or not you find the actual gameplay enjoyable.
Right. We talked about Gundam recently, and Dynasty Warriors' take on that series. Definitely more attention being paid to the intricacies of the Zelda series.
It makes
maybe
more
a
sense.
Franchise that fits a little bit better into that paradigm.
Right. In this universe, you start off as a knight who is just like a warrior, who is just doing these things. And so it actually somehow makes more sense to see Link killing hundreds than it does to see a Gundam senselessly killing hundreds.
Yeah. It's like onslaught of enemies from an unknown force at first. It's like they're attacking the castle. You're a knight. Your job is to defend the castle. So what do? Your queen or princess, I don't know if it's Queen or Princess Zelda in this one, orders you, I think it's Queen actually.
Queen Zelda?
Didn't they say this one was she's actually not a princess, she's a queen in this one?
Whoa.
People calling her that? I hope I'm not wrong, so I'll never live it down.
I hope you're not wrong too.
Yeah.
I brought you in here.
Anyway, they order, you're being go save the kingdom, you know, do your job, and then you just in chain mail and a knight's garb, and then they see how well you fight, and they're like, oh, here's this awesome green outfit that's supposedly for a hero. I don't know what they were saying in Japanese. I'm just improvising there. This green outfit. Now you're Link. You're the hero with that stylish scarf.
So the challenge in Zelda is trying to solve environmental puzzles, figure out where do I need to go to finish the story. What items do I need to have specifically in situations I need to take this bomb and place it here to do this thing. Where does the challenge lie in? You don't like this question at all.
There's none of those things.
Well,
I'm not saying there needs to be those things, but is this game challenging? Is it is this game hard at all, and why?
No, so we played on normal difficulty. It really wasn't challenging at all. The only part that I kept failing at, you weren't there for it, but chat was watching the stream. We streamed this. They were watching me fail at this part. Someone finally just figured out what was going on and said okay, this isn't obvious because you don't know Japanese, but it's not that your base is falling to the enemy. It's that this other base is hurling boulders at your base and is destroying it, but you couldn't tell that. So there was a foreshadow at the beginning of a cutscene where you saw boulders rolling down, but I was like, oh, I ran up a hill and saw boulders. Like, oh, it's probably just an obstacle to get to that base. But they were rolling down and hitting my home base, and that was what was killing it. So didn't grasp that. That was the one, oops, don't know Japanese, so don't know what's going on there. Aside from that, it's straightforward, just very linear maps, or they're not linear. They're open maps, but like they have like corridors you can go down. Some are blocked off till you do a certain objective, which is look at the base that's glowing. That's where you need to go to. Blue means you're good. Red means it's being overtaken. But in terms of items, Zelda items, they do actually give you chests where you get an item, and Link has an active inventory that you can change between. So there's a early on level that you come across where you have the Deku Babas, the plants, and they have an area of effect, an AoE field basically of poison, and they block your path. And no matter how powerful of a spin attack you use, they don't die from that. You're like, what the hell's going on? So in the video, it's like, oh, you used a bow and arrow. So unless you have the bow and arrow to kill them, they impede your progress, and you got to go find it somewhere in the level. So and then like the very first level is bombs. Like, oh, there's this boulder here you can't get past. How do you get through it? Oh, there's bombs hidden down here. So they have very obvious cued things like that, but no puzzle solving on the like anywhere near like Zelda games.
So you. I'm going to go through the multiple stages of Damiani and Hyrule Warriors. So you were not interested in this game, and then you saw it E3, and they had the Majora's Mask, moon, finisher,
Yes.
and that sold you instantaneously. How do you feel about the game now? I mean, did you have quote unquote fun playing this game, or did you feel determined to get through this content because it is your job and because you are a huge Zelda fan?
It was a little bit of the latter there. Like that obviously whenever a Zelda game comes out, like I really do want to play through it. But I think when we like in our old now canceled thanks for playing segment, I said like I think we sort of all agreed that maybe it would be best if this game just kind of had fun with itself, and just start throwing in all these crazy elements for all the different Zelda games. It just felt like embrace your Zelda heritage, but just be goofy. Throw shit in there that doesn't,
fun.
that doesn't necessarily make sense, but you can do it because it's not an official Zelda game. And playing through the Japanese version didn't really get much of the story. I mean, it was easy to follow loosely, but the specifics of it didn't fully get that just yet. However, like just the gameplay mechanics, it came in like the premise, it came down to that. Like they did that. Like we even joked, if it was literally, I think they went with a concept that was making fun of the Zelda timeline. Because the concept is throwing all these worlds together and then it splits in 3 at one point. It's like the 3 different timeline parts minus the Wind Waker. I was like, haha, okay.
So it seemed to me the carrot that's dragging you through this event are getting more weapons, introducing yourself to more characters, having those characters meet, and because you're obviously going to have to recycle. You said it's a long game to get through, and it's not long because you're constantly discovering new areas. There's a lot of recycling going on, and the battles kind of get dragged out in creative ways.
I think initially it's what is the new level going to look like, because you start in Hyrule Field by Hyrule Castle, then you go to the Goron Caves, and then you go to like a Deku Forest essentially, and then you're like, where are we going to go next? And you see the 3 different time periods. I'm going to go to Ocarina of Time levels. I'm going to go to Twilight Princess levels. I'm going to go to Skyward Sword. What am I going to see next? After that phase, it kind of wears off. But then they start throwing new characters like, oh, here you can run into this Rudo. You're going to play as a freaking Zora. You're going to play as a Goron. Later on, you play as Ganondorf. It's like, whoa, what the heck? For like first time outside Smash, we're playing as Ganondorf. Like, this is amazing. Like, they introduced just enough up to that point. I think around the time you get close to like the second level of Ganondorf, everything kind of wears off, and you're like, all right, we're like towards the end of that stream. At least I felt like it's like, where's the last level? Where's the last level? It's like, this is over. Like, where's the final battle here? I don't need to see any more of this.
Tempting to a U.S. Zelda fan to play the Japanese version of Hyrule Warriors, or should you just wait?
I think just because it's the Wii U's region locked, if you're not, you really shouldn't be putting down like 3. Japanese Wii U's aren't cheap. Like they don't sell for the same price here. Like the base model, which is now phased out, you can still find one. It's still like $300 something. And then like the deluxe ones are going to run you up to high 400s. So that's just to get that. I mean, right? It was actually cheaper to buy it with the yen. The dollar was stronger than the yen at the time, so it was. But they priced it up in yen, I guess. So it ended up still costing like $59.99, like US dollars equivalent. But the good thing is you can just get it on the eShop. So if you already somehow have a Japanese Wii U, you don't have to pay to import it. You don't have to wait that shipping time. Cool. You can just get it instantly. So that part of it, if you do have one, go ahead and like just get it. You're not really missing much from the story. Otherwise, it's a month wait. That's like the real perplexing thing. Why why does Giant monthly? It isn't a story-intensive, full-blown adventure Zelda. It's a Dynasty Warriors Zelda game, and they're waiting a whole month.
Yeah, I think honestly the delays are like strategic more than just like, oh, it's going to take us that long to translate it.
I don't know. I think they're seeing it like this is what Zelda fans do. We weren't the only site out there, or even only people like actively playing it and posting videos and stuff. It felt like everyone kind of jumped on board.
Well,
with
it was a big sacrifice that you took out of your workday to stream for as long as you did, to work through the Japanese language and try to piece out all these story elements.
You know, I'm kind of bummed.
I really appreciate that.
I'm bummed about one thing. I realize you're wrapping up, but I'm still bummed about this. They had all these character reveals before the game comes out, and that's it.
Yes.
Those are all the characters who are in the game.
That was a little disappointing.
And there's no secret characters in this game, and that kind of like really.
Are you sure it was lost in translation?
No, it's because they announced that they're gonna be supporting this game for a while, so there's gonna be DLC.
Yeah, Kyle.
So
that doesn't make me happy.
It was obvious there were going to be more characters in this game, and at least to me.
But keep them secret.
But is there anyone in particular that you were looking for? Is there anybody?
Oh yeah.
This person's not in it.
You know the answer.
Groose.
Yes. The Groose is loose.
Groose should absolutely be in that game, and just like make things and just like
Hyrule Warriors 2.
He's so good.
Hyrule Warriors 2.